Well, welcome to Bodhi Talks, Bodhi Online Talks. This is a new experiment for us, and this is our first chapter, so we're nervous. This is our moment of fame. You know, when you get to be asked, like, what would you like to do if we can choose anything? I think for 5 minutes I always wanted to be Oprah. So this is as close as I'm gonna get ever, you know? So I'm gonna take advantage of this. I'm gonna enjoy it. And we start with a bam in these talks. The idea of the talks is for us, since right now times are changing a little bit weird. We last year we had the pandemic, which is still going. And this is our way to keep connecting with each other. One of the things we enjoy in Bodhi the most is the fact that there's human connection, and we get to meet very, very interesting people. So get ready, because we're meeting an amazing person. You're gonna learn a lot from her, like I just did. And the talk today is about yoga in Afghanistan. I'm getting goosebumps. Like really, like I don't even know where to start. I do know where to start. So we're gonna start introducing Camille G. Camille Wodowski. Gokowski. I practiced and even it didn't come out. Okay. So Camille was born in Florida, but by the time she was 6 years old, she and her family moved to Cameroon. And she stayed there until she was 11. Then she came back to United States, Pennsylvania, where she did high school there, and then she did university. She studied economic and political science, right, with a master's degree in international development. And I just summarized this because after being 2 weeks with Camille, we can see the type A personality and everything, outstanding and everything. So many achievements that I didn't want to take the whole time just introducing you. But the thing that we found the most interesting when she signed up for Bodhi, and you have to tell me how you ended up finding us, but when she signed up for Bodhi, on one of the messages, she said, yeah, I'm coming from Afghanistan. Our first guest, just casually flying from Afghanistan. Just that. You know. And so of course it sparked our attention. I was like so eagerly waiting to meet her, and the first yoga lesson, was, it took us I think 40 minutes just to get to know why. You know, so we are recreating that moment when she stepped into the yoga space, and it was why that she came from there. But of course, because this is our well-being library, we're trying to guide it towards yoga in Afghanistan, she's guiding yoga in Afghanistan. So we're gonna start the interview, and the first question I'm gonna ask is, how did you ended up in Afghanistan? How, like a young person, decides to fly there? Tell us all about it.
So after I finished my master's degree, I started working for a smaller company in Washington, D.C. And I had the opportunity to travel around the world, mainly a lot of projects in Africa, because I spoke French. And I think I kind of made my claim to fame with the company. They started to trust me. So when an opportunity came up in Afghanistan to go in and help them with their monitoring and evaluation, I said, sure, why not?
Yeah, why not?
You know?
Give me one reason why wouldn't I?
Well, and it's ironic because when I was doing my master's program, I had written a lot of papers on agriculture, and then I, for some reason, got interested in Afghanistan. One of my professors had done a lot of work in Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and she had allowed me to audit her qualitative methods class. So she and her husband were like a big driving force for me getting into monitoring and evaluation. And yeah, when the opportunity came up, I was like, let's go see what it's about, you know?
Did you have someone like that you could say like, hey, how is Afghanistan? How is life? Or you just like, I don't want to know anything, I'm just jumping into it?
I I didn't really want to know. Because it's one of those things where I think everybody's experience with Afghanistan is always a little different based on like which company you're with, like what period in time you worked there, because it's always so dynamic and evolving. The only person that I really talked to before saying yes to the job was the company's security director, because he and I had spent 6 weeks traveling throughout the DRC, and I trusted him so much with my security and like that conflict zone that I said, okay, will I be safe? And he said, yep, here's what we've done, like here are all the things that have happened. So
he said, like, yeah, sure, why not?
I said, that's a risk I'm willing to take, let's do it.
But he was like, what do you mean? What could go wrong? I mean, such a popular destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
Go on. And what about your family?
My parents, my mother especially, has always known me to be a little bit of a daredevil. So
she saw it coming.
Yes.
Mother instinct.
Yep. She was, she's the one actually who kind of had to talk my dad down, because my dad was like, why? And my mom started using my own words. She was like, Camille could choke on a hot dog tomorrow, She could get hit by a bus crossing the street. And I was like, that's what I've said my whole life. Like, you can't pass up an opportunity.
Yeah.
Don't take silly risks.
Yeah.
But, know.
No, I agree. And it's funny because all my life I wanted just to travel, and that's it. That was my only dream. And now my oldest daughter, Maya, she is like that too. And it's so funny because when you were saying Afghanistan, I was like, yeah, I want her to travel, but I don't know, like, should there be boundaries? No, but now that I get to meet you, I was like, yeah, I mean, we gotta be open. As parents, we gotta let go. Yeah. Because you have your destiny, you have your journey. So this is amazing. So then you get to Afghanistan. Then that takes us to the second question. How is life in Afghanistan for you?
For me, the second time around has been very different. So when I first moved to Afghanistan in 2016, we lived in a villa.
How old were you when you got there?
This was 2016, I was 25.
Oof.
I was 25 when I first moved to Afghanistan.
Yeah. Just like our camera girl. Okay. Well, she flew from Germany to here.
Yeah.
Risky.
Exactly. It's very similar.
Very risky. From the cold. Almost the same challenge. From the cold weather,
to the beautiful tropics.
Yeah. A coconut can happen. A coconut, anything can happen.
Exactly. Anything can happen. Yeah. I was 25, and it was a very interesting dynamic. Like, I am very grateful to my parents to have raised me in such a multicultural setting. I went to school with Germans and Egyptians and people from all over the world, really. And I've always had an interest to learn about people's culture and where they're from. So getting to Afghanistan, I think it was that innate curiosity about, tell me more about your culture, explain more to me about the work that you're doing and why you guys have picked this industry. Because it was a little challenging. I was managing a team at the time of like 5 or 6 people, and some of the men were in their 40s, and their initial reaction was, what is
Afghan people?
Yes. Their initial reaction was, what is this 25-year-old girl come here to do? But I consider myself very like effusive. I'm very bubbly. I'm very in your face. I'm curious. And we quickly formed a very like family dynamic. And one of my big motivators in international development is, I'm not here to take anybody's job. I'm here to help build the capacity so that the people of that country can do the job. They can take ownership. And so right from the outset, it's like, here's our plan. How can I help you do this work? How can I help you take over this position? And that was I think for me, the most shining moment is when I went back in 2019. A lot of the things that I had set up when I was with that first project were still in place. Like my staff had just grown it and really harnessed it. And like, I've never felt more like mama bear proud.
That's so nice. That's so nice. That was your first project. Then you went back to States, and then you're back there with the same people, or it has changed. The environment has changed.
It's a different company. Like right now, I work for an implementing partner of USAID, and there's probably 120 projects in Afghanistan. So we're one of 120.
Okay. Both times you live in the compound, right?
The first time was in a villa where it was just the people working on that particular project. So there was 4 of us in one company, and then another 4 or 5 in another, and we were all living in one villa. And then this time around, I live on a much bigger compound where there's about 600 people, far better amenities, like swimming pool, workout gyms, you know, yoga. Well, conference room that we use for yoga.
Okay, yoga shala.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna call it here. So that is like, see, because I'm timing myself. That takes us to the most important question. Now that we have the idea of how you got there and what are you doing there, yoga in Afghanistan.
Yes.
First, who do you teach? How are your classes? Why did you start teaching them, or like, what was the inspiration to start teaching yoga over there?
So I was taking a CrossFit class. Our security guy teaches CrossFit, and this other person stated she was yoga certified. So she led the first class, and it wasn't very much my style, but I like attended to show solidarity. You know, we're a small compound. When people start new things, you kind of show up for a few classes to get the buzz going. And then she wasn't able to make a class one day, so I said, okay, I can lead. You know, I'm always very transparent with my group of people. I say, I'm not yoga certified. I've been practicing now on and off for about 10 to 12 years.
Oh, wow.
So I can show you guys what I do in my practice, and if you'd like to follow along, you know, that's what we'll do.
So the people that were joining us were people that were in that compound.
Yes.
And do you feel people leave more stress in there than other places?
Absolutely. You've got the background stress of just being in a conflict zone, and then of course some people who are newer to the compound or newer to Afghanistan don't understand what it's like to live in like such an enclosed space where you might not get off the compound as much. You know, some people do. They get off every single day. Others, like my company, will go months sometimes, especially during COVID, where we can't leave the compound. And then we've got all different types of people that come. We've got security guys who are carrying, you know, belts on their waist all day. So they've got that pressure. You've got pilots that are up in the sky for hours and hours on end that kind of just need to open up a bit. And then of course you've got and then you've got us that sit behind a computer all day.
Yes. So in many different ways they're experiencing a lot of tension and stress.
Yep.
What feedback have you gotten from, like, how yoga contribute to their lives? Are you getting any feedback?
I am.
You should be getting.
I am. I think one of my favorite things is just seeing how relaxed people are after Shavasana, because I lead very different styles of classes. I try to ask the group of people, because we're only like, there's up to 12 or 15 people that participate, and then it rotates from one day to the next. But I always ask them, I'm like, what do you guys want today? Do you want more of a power yoga? Do you want more of a yin yoga? What hurts? What do we want to open up? And so the flow is always different, and you get immediate feedback. And you've got people of all different ranges. Some people who have done like martial arts, so that they also have like integrated elements of yoga. You've got people who have never been to a yoga class before. And
multi-level class.
Yeah. So my favorite
Challenging.
part is just like, okay, how is your body moving? How can we adjust this for everybody here? But yeah, Shavasana is the one time where I tell everybody, I'm like, I promise the Taliban will not do anything for the next 10 minutes.
It is.
You know, let the ground just hold you.
Oh, that's nice.
And that's what I say to them. I'm like, listen, this is your opportunity. We are always so busy. Your mind is so active on a day-to-day. Use these 10 minutes to let the ground hold you. You have nowhere else to fall. Like, as you're breathing out, just feel that tension kind of gently release.
Yeah.
And when they come out of those 10 minutes, you can just tell that even if it's for 5 minutes after,
The face looks different.
there's a shift.
There's a shift even in the energy of the classroom.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things I loved about teaching. You know, like I could have said that after 15 years of teaching or more, like people ask me, Pancito Rico, we're going to ads right now. We're going to commercial, stay tuned. If you're being Bodhi, you know what Pancito Rico means. Well, coming back to that, one thing I never realized before yoga is how much tension we all carried within us and how we all think it's normal. And it's guiding our lives, and it's guiding the ways we interact, we take decisions, we react, and everything. And it's like we, as humans, we think I am like this, but we have so many different versions of us.
Yes.
And one of the versions is the me version after Shavasana, the version when I'm relaxed, the version when I take time to breathe, and the version when I have to mention when I just had a coffee, when I run, when I this, when I that, when I'm so stressed, when I got into a fight, when I didn't like the email. And yeah, for me, it's really revealing to see the changing in the way people talk, in the way people walk and everything after they've been to a session. It makes the practice very magical, which is one of the questions I wanted to ask, and this should have came before. Why do you like yoga?
Yoga has done so much for me over the years, and coming to my mat, it, like you said, it is always a different experience. That's something that I remind people of during the practice. Is it's like your body is not what it was yesterday. It's not what it's going to be tomorrow. And for me, at some stages, yoga is just about like, what is my body feeling? And then there have been other stages where I've wanted something out of life, and just purposely like thinking and visualizing while I'm on my mat helps me approach it with a new drive, with a new perspective. And then there have been stages where it's just like yin yoga, I just need to release. I've been through a lot of trauma, and I just need a place to like
decompress.
So
Yoga can be so many things, the asana practice, and that's the beauty of it. I don't provide much the options of what yoga you would like to practice, because I know after surfing every day, everyone yin yoga or just shavasana. Just take me to shavasana right now. Anyways, we're jumping now into the fun questions. Okay. Number one, are you ready? Right, let's see. So number one, if you had a superpower, which one would it be?
Easy.
Yeah, tell me.
To be able to speak all the languages of the world.
Oh, nice.
Like, that's something I dabble in. Like, I know a tiny bit of sign language, a little bit of German, a little bit of Arabic, a little bit of Pashto and Dari.
To be able to connect with everyone.
For me, it's about being able to have, like, learning about other people's experiences. And that's what my mother told me when I was young. She was like, you just had to speak to people. Because when I was 6, we had somebody in our class who was deaf. And so I used to skip half of my recess to go learn sign language so that I could tell her what was happening in the drawing classes. Like, I like to talk to people and learn about their experiences.
Yes, no, and that's such a nice way to learn, right? I remember the other day I was watching The Last Year in Netflix, which is about Barack Obama and the team in the last year. And one thing I like is that they were questioning him about all the newspapers. Apparently, like that he reads a lot of newspapers and everything. And I don't remember exactly the question, but he said, "You know what? The most important is the stories. Sit down and listen to people.
Yep.
Listen to the stories." And it's been on the back of my head all the time. How important it is for us to sit down and listen. Listen to the stories of people, and we learn so much. So I loved your superpower. Next one. You know, this is the well-being library. What does well-being means to you?
For me, it's about finding that balance.
Balance.
I think well-being, and this is a conversation I actually had with my sister during the pandemic, because she was like, coming home, is it helping you heal? And I was like, there's so many versions of healing, active healing, passive healing, and I think the same is for well-being. But I say balance because some people will stress about what they're eating, and that's a different type of stress, or they'll stress about being super active. And I'm like, are you mentally, physically, and spiritually whole? And are you giving yourself the grace to like forgive when you don't show up on your mat one day, or you don't go running one day? Like,
and you ate that big piece of chocolate cake, and it's fine. You
drink
know,
a third cup of coffee.
Or
So I think well-being is just about like when all three are in sync, and when you're not stressing the little things. Like for me, that's well-being.
Nice. I like it, like balance.
Yep.
And a whole. Yeah. Very nice. Last question. Yeah, you passed the test already. So this is extra points. What is the most valuable lesson you have learned so far in your life? Tricky question,
It
right?
is.
You thought it was going to be light just because it's the last one. No.
I was like, way to turn it up on the last question.
I just went surfing.
The most valuable lesson. Oh. I think it's about being in the moment. I think a lot of times we forget, or we take for granted that like every moment is unique and it's different. Even when in a pandemic, it feels like Groundhog Day, because we are waking up and we're doing the same thing over and over again. It's like, no, we've had the opportunity to like show up for this moment. And it's something that I know I struggle with a lot, because there are, especially for me, this is how I know I'm in a moment of high stress. I stop finding the happiness or the like beauty in the day-to-day, whether it's like, oh yeah, you know, so-and-so sent me an annoying email, but like, hey, at least I'm still employed. Like when I start to get just like, oh my gosh, somebody send me home. Like that's when I'm like, my well-being is not in line. Like, you know,
just moment to moment. And yeah.
And that's when it's funny because my big thing in Afghanistan is because we're on such a small compound and it's hard to avoid people, and it's hard to like, you know, sometimes for me, I not binge eat, but I like good foods to make me happy. And we only have the cafeteria. Like the big thing that I've been doing lately is after lunch, I'll just go and again, lay on the ground in my room and just close my eyes for 5 minutes and be like, all right, remember, you showed up today. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
the next half of the day, we're going into this with a different mindset.
It's a shifting.
Yes.
I call it like, sometimes I call it I'm going back to grace, you know, because we get all caught up in the busyness and to do and what irritates me, and so much going on, and the kids, the family, the business, and everything. So I'm like, stop. Back to grace. and then I'm back. But it's a shift, internal shift is so important.
And it's funny because I had one of those moments here at Bodhi. Like, this has been such a healing 2 weeks for me because before coming here, I was not sleeping well. I was not eating well. I had allowed the stress to compound so much to the point that I hadn't realized it. And being here just really reminded me to like ground myself and be present. And during a surf lesson, Mother Nature was really beating me down.
They do that to you. The ocean does that to you. It's part of the learning lessons, you know.
I kept getting caught in the washing machine, and I was just like, what am I doing wrong? And I like signaled to Travis, I was like, I need 10 minutes. And I like walked out of the ocean, and I was like, you have the opportunity to show up here. Like, it doesn't matter if you're not catching the waves like Kelly Slater or, you know, whoever. Like, you're surfing.
Were you not? I thought you were gonna do it. After 2 weeks, you know, like easy breezy.
I was gonna shred too. I mean, I got better. But need to come back.
That's it. Yeah. Well, be present. I think that's, if anything, one of the biggest lessons that yoga is here to teach us in the holistic way, you know, not only the asana, but yoga of the mats, and even like what we do around the day. And we're closing. We're about to finish this one, and it's been a blessing to talk to you. Thank you, Camille, for giving us this time. I'm sure that people will see this and will appreciate, and I already learned so much from you. So we're closing. We're gonna close with what, like the donkey dance? We should close with the donkey dance. You know the donkey dance?
No.
Yeah, well, this is unexpected. Okay, so we shake the energy. So we shake. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.
Keep shaking the energy. Woo!